In this video, we will introduce the prep for AD0-E725 Adobe Commerce Developer Expert exam. Overview of Adobe Commerce Developer Expert exam. AD0-E725 exam key information. AD0-E725 exam objectives. Recommended experience and skills. Effective preparation strategy for the AD0-E725 exam. 1. How can a developer programmatically add a new customer attribute in Adobe Commerce? A. Modify the customer EAV table directly via SQL. B. Use a data patch to add the attribute using the EAV setup classes. C. Add the attribute directly through the admin panel under Stores configuration. D. Update the EAV_attribute table manually. 2. If a developer needs to synchronize product data across multiple external systems in real time, which Adobe Commerce feature should they leverage? A. Database triggers and stored procedures. B. Direct database replication. C. Custom APIs utilizing Adobe Commerce Web Services. D. Batch processing via cron jobs. 3. What is the recommended way to handle large-scale data imports in Adobe Commerce? A. Use direct SQL queries to insert data into the database. B. Utilize the Adobe Commerce Data Import functionality. C. Manually input data via the admin panel. D. Modify the flat file and upload it to the server. 4. Which two techniques can be used to improve caching efficiency in Adobe Commerce? A. Implementing varnish for full-page caching. B. Disabling caching for frequently requested pages. C. Enabling Redis for session and object caching. D. Reducing the cache expiration time to minimize storage. 5. How can a developer programmatically extend the database schema to add a custom table in Adobe Commerce? A. Use an XML configuration file to declare the table schema. B. Implement a schema patch that defines the new table. C. Directly create the table in the database using a SQL management tool. D. Modify the core Magento schema files to include the new table. 6. A developer is asked to set up an additional environment for testing a new feature without affecting the live production site. What is the best approach to achieve this in Adobe Commerce Cloud? A. Create a new branch for the testing environment and deploy it using the Adobe Commerce Cloud UI. B. Modify the production environment to include the test features. C. Perform tests directly on the production environment during off-peak hours. D. Override the core production settings to allow testing. 7. How can a developer create a custom API endpoint in Adobe Commerce to retrieve customer order history? A. Modify the core API files to add a new endpoint. B. Define the API endpoint in webapi.xml and implement the logic in a service class. C. Use the admin panel to create a new API. D. Add a new controller to handle API requests. 8. How can a developer add a new custom payment method to Adobe Commerce? A. Modify the core payment modules to include the custom method. B. Create a new module that defines the payment method in the payment.xml file and implements its logic. C. Update the system configuration file to add a new payment method. D. Use the admin panel to add a new payment method. 9. A developer needs to troubleshoot a recent deployment issue in Adobe Commerce Cloud. How can they review the deployment logs to identify the root cause? A. Use the Adobe Commerce Cloud admin panel to view the deployment logs. B. Access the logs through the Magento Cloud CLI using the Magento Cloud Deploy Logs command. C. Modify the config YAML file to enable logging. D. Check the composer JSON file for recent changes. 10. Which method does indexing use to improve performance in Adobe Commerce? A. Storing frequently accessed data in a temporary cache. B. Pre-computing and storing data for faster retrieval. C. Reducing API calls through batching requests. D. Enforcing foreign key constraints in the database. Check the correct answers for each question. Subscribe Passert for more IT exam prep.